You guys are here for our Royal Rumble pre-show. We've got pretty much the full card. It was all booked on last night's Raw. Overall, I don't know about you guys, but I'm after last night's Raw, I'm starting to really get hyped about the show. Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year, every single year. Last year almost kind of ruined that, but overall, this is a fun pay-per-view that I think a lot of people get excited about. The card as it stands right now, we've got a kickoff match of The New Day versus Kid, Cesaro, and Adam Rose. Then the main card is Usos versus Mizdow for the Tag Team Championships, Paige and Natalya versus the Bella Twins, the New Age Outlaws versus the Ascension, Cena versus Rollins versus Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and the Royal Rumble match is 30-man over-the-top challenge. Overall, what match are you guys looking forward to the most?
For me, it's a Royal Rumble match. Always, it always gets my my blood pumping. It's always the spectacle to watch. I dare say that I enjoy the Royal Rumble more than WrestleMania. Even though WrestleMania is supposed to be the biggest show, the most popular one, it's a great show usually.
Yeah.
Even though past years we've been like, man. But it's got such a build-up. But really, the Rumble? I mean, there's so many crazy things happening. I mean, if Kofi Kingston's in the Rumble, we're going to see something interesting. If Randy Orton happens to come back at the Rumble, we could see something interesting there. I mean, there's so many X factors. Somebody could screw up and totally change the plan. It's just great. Double eliminations, triple eliminations. Santino almost winning that one year. I mean, it's always exciting. So that's my match that's the match I'm looking forward to. Followed by, I'm going to go, with the main event, for the WWE Championship. That match. That would be my second. But no, the Royal Rumble is going to be the main event.
Nick?
I think I have to reverse that order for what I'm most excited about. The Rumble is generally almost always great, last year notwithstanding. I'm really excited about seeing Rollins in the top title picture, though. More excited than I am about the possibility of anybody winning the Rumble. Just the idea of Rollins getting elevated to that level where he's facing off against the top guy in the company and I don't know if he's the most pushed guy in the company, but seeming the most dominant guy in the company in Lesnar. I never would have expected to see Rollins here before anybody else in the Shield. Oh, not the way they've been pushing Reigns.
For sure, yeah. No, I'm in agreement there. I think part of that has to do with Reigns getting hurt, but yeah, they've built that match really well. Out of these two matches, I'm torn. I want to see both of them. It's again, you guys who have been listening to the show for the last 6 weeks for sure know that I really haven't been following WWE and especially Raw. I haven't really been watching Raw as of late, but last night was the first time I really watched it in whole, not just clips. And just the way they're building Lesnar versus Rollins versus Cena is fantastic. Fantastic. Like that's how you tell a good story. And I'm glad WWE has finally figured it out, or at least, everything's in motion at the same time. So yeah, overall, that's our card. There really isn't necessarily a bad match, but when you've got, that type of main event and that type of match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then you've got the Royal Rumble, it's hard to get excited about everything else because those two definitely take precedence over everything else. And that's normal. That's what we've seen, traditionally for the last few years at least. Those are the main two matches, and everything else is kind of filler. Like, it serves its purpose, but overall it's just kind of wetting our whistle before those two big matches.
I am a little bit surprised that we're seeing a tag team championship match, considering that all four of those guys are also in the Rumble. It's not unheard of for people to pull double duty, but yeah, if they were going to have a title match between two guys in the Rumble, I don't know. That's just not the one I would have expected.
Well, that's what happened last year. I mean, if you look at Cody and Goldust, I think they held the titles.
Yeah, you're right.
And they lost to the New Age Outlaws. I want to say that was the match, but that was the kickoff last year. So, and then Cody and Goldust were also a part of the Royal Rumble. So yeah, like you said, it's not unheard of. It is sort of unheard of that both teams are going to be a part of the Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
At least, in my memory, at least.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it does kind of make sense, given that tag matches are easier overall on each individual guy. Sure. So, yeah, that does make sense when you think about it.
All right, so let's just run down the card and do our predictions and our overall thoughts about the build up so far. New Day versus Kid, Cesaro, and Adam Rose. I think this technically started last week. We saw a bit of it this week on Raw. Overall, do you guys like this match?
I think this is going to be a fun match. In that, we've got the New Day, and I've been pretty big on Cesaro and Kid.
Yeah,
I think they work great together. The Adam Rose factor just tanks it for me, because with this turn that he's taking. There's nobody. I get Kid and Cesaro feuding with New Day.
Yeah.
In that, there's that tag team aspect. Rose, he just doesn't seem to exactly fit.
Rose does seem kind of odd, especially in this placement. But, you have to almost hold out hope that where this is leading to is where we want it to lead to, which is more of that character that he had in NXT, where he was Leo Kruger, that heel. That's the kind of guy we want from Adam Rose, and it seems like that's the direction they're going, but it's so hard to predict, like how they're going to progress this, and if they'll make it, viable, or at least make it interesting. So, I don't know, like, on one hand, I'm with you. It's almost a detriment to the match, because you want to see everyone else succeed, and you just don't necessarily have faith in what WWE has done before with Adam Rose. But at the same time, like, for me, I'm just hopeful that this is going to lead to something really cool.
I hope so,
I see where you guys are coming from with the dissonance there. And there's some there for me too. If not for the exact same reason, for me, it's the fact that I don't like heel Adam Rose as much as I like Leo Kruger. It's the heel party boy gimmick that he has going on. It's a little bit awkward for me, because why haven't the Rosebuds abandoned him by now if he's being this much of a dick to them?
Yeah.
But I do like the feud going on right now, though. And I like the fact that New Day is finally making some progression with the explanation of why they are so positive. Is if we weren't so positive, the rage would come out. And if the rage comes out, people get hospitalized. That seems to me that the rage is going to come out, and it might be fairly soon. So we might not be that far away from the more militant side of those guys that we initially saw. So that holds a lot of promise for me. And
sure.
if these three guys, Kid, Cesaro, and Rose, are the guys to face off against them, if nothing else, we're going to get awesome matches.
Oh yeah, I mean, totally. I think the combination here is good. I'm with you there. Yeah, I think the combination is good, but there is like some story issues that I have with this as well. Especially with the background that Tyson Kidd has with Adam Rose. Like, now they're partners, and like they were just feuding. It felt like a couple months ago. So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of odd. Predictions though. Joe, you're gonna go with New Day?
I'm going with New Day.
Okay. As it stands right now, Nick and I are both gonna go with Kid, Cesaro, and Adam Rose.
I'm not going to be able to say that team name without saying it that way.
Which team name?
New Day. So I really like New Day, and they're really, energetic. And I'm glad they're doing something with the New Day, but yeah. I'm so glad you're not going to be here to taunt me into saying it over and over.
Oh, you never know. It might happen. All right. So moving on from that, we've got the Usos defending the titles against Mizdow. Are you guys tired of this match? Because it seems like we have gotten this match 7 times at least in the last 2-3 months.
I mean, The only match I think we had more than this one in WWE history was Christian versus Randy Orton.
Well, there's also Orton versus John Cena, but
Or Christian versus Del Rio.
Christian versus Orton, I think, because you just kept going, one more match, one more.
Yeah. Well, that was every week. Yeah.
That was every week, and we kept getting those matches. But anyway, regardless, yeah, I'm tired of this. I think this is where we're going to see our Mizdow split.
Hopefully.
Especially after, Mizdow was imitating X-Pac on Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and Mizdow gave Miz a stink eye in that video package before the match.
Speaking of, real quick,
Mizdow pack?
did you know? Did you know
X-Dow?
that
X-Dow.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you know that was not X-Pac? That was Damien Sandow when it first happened?
No.
Me neither. I thought for sure that was X-Pac.
Yeah, he did that well, and it just goes to show you nobody cares
No.
about X-Pac.
I don't think Xbox can grow that full of beard.
Okay. So, all right, but you're gonna go with Usos for the win.
Yes.
Nick, what about you?
Same here. I think this feud is played out.
Yeah, overall, I'm with you guys. I'm ready for Damien Sandow to break away from the Mizdow character and move forward. This is going to lead into a Miz versus Sandow feud, and I think that's good. It might be a good way to help sell Fastlane, which is our next pay-per-view. Not by much, but I mean, as far as, overall stories that we've been invested in, I think that would help sell that pay-per-view if that was one of the major feuds going into it. So I'm with you guys. I want to see the split. Usos retain, and hopefully we get some other tag teams involved with the Usos this week or this upcoming cycle. Not just one tag team, but like a solid 2-3 tag team feud. That'd be really cool. Paige and Natalya team up to take on the Bella Twins, and I do know this. This is one of the feuds set up because of what's happening in Total Divas, as far as like the teaming of Paige and Natalya. So this is like one of those things that we're getting. There's the storyline, the cross storylines happening. This is one of them. Overall, like, are you guys into this at all? Do you care about this?
What, Paige and Natalya?
Paige and Natalya teaming up, being friends, and going up against the Bella Twins?
No, not at all. It's a filler. It's that one women's match we got to get on the card for rights.
Yeah.
I care a shit ton about this match, and it has nothing to do with Total Divas.
Okay.
Bullshit.
I haven't watched season 3 of Total Divas at all. Not that I'm not going to catch up. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But Paige and Natalya makes sense as a team. They're two women's wrestlers that are wrestlers first.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that Total Divas provided the impetus for them to team up. But at some point, just given the way Natalya and Paige have been angling for the title, I think it had to happen eventually. As far as this match itself, I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to see the Bellas actually manage to keep up with Paige and Natalya. So maybe we might see the split between Paige and Natalya. So that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that Paige has kind of gotten the lion's share of the attention. She's gotten the wins almost exclusively since they started teaming up. So maybe Natalya starts feeling slighted or, what's the word I'm looking for? Outshone. And she wants to prove why she's the better wrestler. So I don't care how it happens. I just want to see that feud happen.
Paige versus Natalya, I think would be really cool. That's not what we're getting here. If that leads to that, awesome. But at this point, I don't care about this. So, Nick and I were going to go with Paige and Natalya. Joe, you're saying the Bella Twins. Correct?
Joe,
I'm
you're
sorry,
muted.
I was muted. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm answering, and
now we know. Now we know it's not a Hangouts issue. It's definitely a you issue.
No, that one because I hit it on my mic cord.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So this week on Raw, we got a little bit more build in the Ascension. So, we got another thing with the Ascension. And when this started, and I watched Raw today. So when this segment started on Raw with the Ascension coming down to basically break up the NWO reunion, I thought it was really cool because, they were taking that controversy that they started with the Road Warriors, comment. They were taking that controversy and really putting it towards something tangible. And I really enjoyed that part of it. So as far as them, coming down saying that they were better than the NWO, I thought that was really cool. Then when JBL came off the commentary table and was basically talking shit to them, I thought that was fantastic. That was a nice natural progression of how JBL has been treating them on commentary. It was nice for him to finally say that to them. And then with Ron Simmons coming out, I thought overall, like, this was really cool that we're finally gonna have them get their comeuppance almost for what they've been saying. The problem I have with this is they got like flat out destroyed by all of these old guys.
Agreed. Yeah, that was way too. I mean, the segment was way too short. If you were going to have the old guys win, one, as Jill brought up, we expected Stevie Ray to come out and team with Booker. I expected Ron Simmons to do something.
Yeah.
I would have expected somebody from the NWO to actually do something. I mean, it was more of a clique reunion. Let's be honest here.
Well, and Ron Simmons and JBL, but yes.
Well, right. But I mean, if you got 4 out of the 6 guys,
sure, from
the clique, and then okay, I mean, great to see the clothesline from Hell again. JBL can still work if he wants, but like, I don't think the Ascension deserved the squash like they did. If they would have been able to fight back and maybe take out, I don't know, a couple of guys, at least knock the guys down that could be knocked down.
Sure.
I understand Kevin Nash was about ready to tear a quad, but, and Scott Hall couldn't take a bump, but JBL could have. He could have been knocked down.
Working.
Yeah, he's had like 50 ass injuries. You could throw him down. I'm sorry, when you blow out your asshole by doing the X Factor.
How is that even possible? Like, that seems like that blows my mind. Just like it blows out his ass. Yeah, that could happen.
I can see how it can happen with repeated impact when you're landing right flat on your ass. I mean, you're wearing down the cushion at that point.
I don't know.
I don't know how you got to wonder how many times he does that and how many times China plot him back there. But that being said, I definitely think that segment really hurt the Ascension. That being said, I think Ascension's taking this one against the New Age Outlaws. It's they're getting their revenge for the crappy beating they got on Raw.
Nick, what do you think? Was this a quote unquote burial of the Ascension?
It was the closest thing we will ever get to it on WWE TV, or at least until they manage to plumb new depths. Yeah, that whole segment was bullshit as far as I'm concerned. I never liked the fact that JBL does this with everybody that comes up from NXT, and the fact that he came up off commentary speaking on a live mic and talking all manner of shit to the Ascension, and then they just get squashed like that. I'm with Joe. That squash never should have happened. If that was going to happen, it should have happened a lot later after the Ascension debuted. They faced nobodies and they've talked a lot of shit. They needed to do some backing up of that shit talking before they got smacked down like that.
Right.
So
yeah,
they absolutely need to just steamroll the New Age Outlaws here to start getting back some credibility. And I hope they kick JBL's ass in the process. If for no other reason than JBL needs an ass kicking.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, this isn't the first time that we've seen something similar to this. The whole, if you remember, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but Heath Slater was going after all of the legends. Obviously, Randy Orton being the legend killer, that helped like progress his story. Actually, obviously Heath Slater like getting knocked down by all the legends every single time he was out. That was funny, and because it was Heath Slater. I mean, like they weren't necessarily using him or they weren't trying to build him up to be these unstoppable guys like they're doing the Ascension. We also saw something similar with Chris Jericho when he ended up, it was a WrestleMania match. I think it was him versus Mickey Rourke.
No, it was supposed to be Mickey Rourke, but it was
That's
him.
right. Yeah, it was supposed to be Mickey Rourke, but then it was, against, go ahead.
It was against Snuka. It was against, Steamboat.
Yep.
And everyone was impressed with Steamboat, but I forget who the third one was.
I don't remember the third one either, but the payoff there was that we saw Steamboat so majestic and so very similar to like our memories of how great that guy was. So like that was the payoff of being able to see Steamboat again in that capacity. But
Roddy Piper, Snuka, and Steamboat.
Okay, cool. But yeah, in this instance, I don't see how this benefits the Ascension. It's obviously going to anger them. At least I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this angers them so that they just squash the New Age Outlaws. But for the payoff to be, at least for this part of the story, to be a match against the New Age Outlaws, I am not really interested in seeing that. I mean, the New Age Outlaws, we've seen them wrestle. Last year, Royal Rumble, they were fighting for the title. So it's not like they're coming back and this will be cool like it was for Steamboat. This is like, why aren't they in the title match against the Usos? Why aren't they in competition with some actual tag teams? So I don't know if I would necessarily say this was a burial, but yeah, like you said, Nick, this is the closest that I think we've actually been able to accurately use that term. So, overall, we're all going to go with the Ascension. That's our pick. That leads us to the discussion of what's going to be the main event. Is it going to be the World Heavyweight Championship match, or is it going to be the Royal Rumble? What do you think, Joe?
I'm going with the Royal Rumble, as it has quite frequently been the main event. We can watch WWE Championship match, and no matter who wins, then all the questions, come up. Who's going to be? Who's going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the guy who's going to take on that person at WrestleMania?
Right.
Well, but really that's not true because we could always have a change at Fastlane for the WWE Championship. They've done it in the past with the Elimination Chamber.
Well, that's different.
How so?
Well, it's a big gimmick pay-per-view.
Regardless, they had a title change to the pay-per-view with only a month to build the pay-per-view, to build the new WWE Championship match. So we could still see a change there.
Yeah, no, okay, you're right.
I mean, Cena versus Rollins versus Lesnar, each guy has a number of people who will be in the Rumble match that would make a great opponent for them.
Right.
I mean, let's say Lesnar wins, Cena and Rollins could both be in the Rumble match. They could be entered in the Rumble match. Not that would be a good idea, but Rollins goes in. You've got the possibility of Ambrose. You got the possibility of Reigns. I mean, you've got other options too. But sure. I mean, those are both fantastic options. Cena goes in. Doesn't matter. Cena's just going to win. But I mean, you have so many options. I think the excitement builds even more when the Rumble is the last match, sure. Unless you have Batista win
or Daniel Bryan not being involved and Rey Mysterio getting the final slot.
Well, that's why last year was a festering piece of dog shit. But
yeah, Nick, what do you think? What's going to end the pay-per-view?
I almost think it's going to be the title match because of last year. I don't think this year's Rumble will be that bad, but I have to wonder if the WWE didn't take something from that and think, maybe we shouldn't close with something that's as much of a gambit as the Rumble, where there are so many outcomes and some of them might not be as awesome as we think they are. At least with a title match, there's a set number of outcomes and chances are people are going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have something like Mysterio being the final entrant, and while people love Mysterio, the fact that he effectively shut out the possibility of Daniel Bryan being in the Rumble made everybody turn on him.
Right.
Like, that's a bizarre chain of events that I don't think anybody could have predicted, but people shat on it for that.
Oh,
so
you couldn't have predicted that them not putting Daniel Bryan over? That's who we wanted in WrestleMania, and them not doing that?
I mean, at that point, it was entirely predictable. But the fact that people turned on somebody as beloved as Mysterio,
sure, the turn, right.
yeah,
I don't know.
I think the WWE might want to kind of play it safe here.
Yeah, I mean,
I just remember, having a bunch of friends in my living room, and number 30 it's counting down for number 30, and everyone's like, yes, 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 yes. Booyaka, booyaka! Fuck you!
Yeah, I do remember us being just as loud as the arena that night.
Oh man, we were. That's why pay-per-view parties are awesome.
Yeah.
If you've got a good pay-per-view, yeah. I'm kind of bummed I'm not doing one this time around, but
yeah, and generally speaking, Royal Rumble is a good pay-per-view.
Yeah,
that moment killed it, though. Yeah. That moment killed it, and overall, like I'm looking at how invested I am in the Royal Rumble, and normally it sells itself. It's hard to not be into the Royal Rumble, but because of what they did last year, like you've got, I just have this vision of them repeating it, not making the decision we want, and just the backlash for that. So
yeah, I think one thing they could do to really help build the Rumble during the Rumble. And this is probably something that's never going to happen. It hasn't happened, I think, since the 80s. But have it happen that, like, guys you really don't expect to ever have a possibility of winning, actually give them a valid chance of winning. The closest we came to was Santino that one year, where he was one of the last two.
Oh, and that was so cool.
that was so much fun. But I mean, think about it. Like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Big John Studd. You had the Bushwhackers. Like everybody back in the '80s was valid,
right?
And maybe that's because we had the Jobber crew who built up guys on shows most of the time, as opposed to what we have now, which is superstar versus superstar. We never really got that unless it was a big card, or not to the extent that we do today. But back in the 80s, we used to believe that anybody really could win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Now
we were kids now.
Right. But I could go back and watch and go like, I actually think Akeem the African Dream is going to win.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know one part of me is like, I know he doesn't win. This is old.
Yeah.
But everybody was valid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
And now we have, like, Heath Slater comes out. You're like, well, he's out.
Yeah.
It's fodder as opposed to believability. And that's kind of a bummer.
For sure. I mean, there's like a top 6. There's a top 6 that I think we all have. We might not say it, but there's usually like a top 6 mental list of people you know. And I think we can pretty much all agree on that top 6 of who could be chosen to win, kind of thing. I think it's definitely like you're saying, it's definitely changed to what it used to be. And yeah, that's a shame. It's a shame for sure. But I think part of that is, us looking at, how we act right now as adults. And, I look at my 10-year-old nephew and he has no idea. He probably thinks anyone could win. So I guess it's all based on perspective.
You should find out and let us all know who he thinks is going to win the Royal Rumble.
You know what? I'll send my brother a text message. Send him a text message right now. All right. So overall, yeah, I think the idea of either of these matches being in the main event could work. But it, like Blue was saying in the live chat, what WWE needs to do is make the right decision. On who wins the Royal Rumble. That's what is going to make the Royal Rumble good, is making the right decision. And Roman Reigns is not the right decision. Daniel Bryan, I think, is the right decision. But here's the potential problem. Okay. So we now know that last year the plan was never for Daniel Bryan to be in the WrestleMania main event. It was supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus 3 at WrestleMania. That was announced by Daniel Bryan in a recent interview. So we do know that was the original plan.
Right.
We changed that. Like, we made WWE change that because we were so behind Daniel Bryan and so against anything else that they were doing. Like, we were so vocal. So, But at the same time, I mean, just look at what they did. They listened to us and they gave Daniel Bryan a shot. And yeah, I think they sold out WrestleMania. I think that proved to be very beneficial to them. But at the same time, Daniel Bryan got hurt. So it was a gamble, and it paid off, sort of. It paid off in the short term, but in the long term, they lost him for almost a whole year. So, we look at Dolph Ziggler. When Dolph Ziggler got hurt, it took almost a full year for them to even put Dolph Ziggler in a good spot. They finally gave him, a real shot at the Intercontinental Championship, let him hold that title for a while. They put the spotlight on him for a while, but it took a long time for him to get back into that opportunity. Daniel Bryan, I mean, look at how they're bringing him back. It's very slowly. It's very non-dramatic. He's returning at SmackDown. No, he's returning at SmackDown.
But
at the same time, they're trying to make SmackDown a thing.
Yeah, we said this last week. I don't know if you stepped away or not, but I did bring this up last week, and that, is it coincidence that his first match back is the first night they're doing Thursday night SmackDown again? They know he's a draw.
Sure.
The difference between him and Ziggler is that Ziggler had a concussion, and that's just a complete X factor. Where Daniel Bryan was more of a physical ailment, where they have a better gauge on time, and you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, he had other stuff that came up, which pushed him back to now. And they probably I'm hoping they gave him a little extra time. Like, yes, he can come back, but it's better if he comes back at the Rumble, essentially comes back for the Rumble. So we'll let him rest a little longer. But, I mean, that's hoping. But after the CM Punk interviews, it's probably not what happened. Regardless, putting money and faith behind Bryan once he's cleared is easier than putting it behind Ziggler at the time because of the concussion and the just dramatic, like he could be perfectly fine one instant and then fucked the next.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just my personal view of how things have gone thus far with Daniel Bryan.
You are not allowed to have a personal view.
I know, but
your personal view is wrong.
It's possible. Okay.
Your personal view is copyright of the FTW podcast.
Listen, Deuce, let me believe what I want to believe. So I'm just fearful that WWE will do the same thing to Daniel Bryan like they did with Dolph Ziggler, like they've done with other stars that were really close to the top and then were injured. There was like that slow roll, allowing them to slowly get back into that spot, but it took a while. And I'm fearful that they're going to do the same thing and not let Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble and thus make us happy for seeing him, at WrestleMania in the spotlight. So, okay, let's talk. Royal Rumble, who wins?
Well,
I'm going to call for Daniel Bryan.
See, and I'm going with Roman Reigns. We've always heard the rumor, and maybe that's why everyone thinks it's going to switch. Just because Daniel Bryan comes back doesn't mean he's not going to get a shot. But I think Reigns is going to get it, and we'll see either a match with Rollins or Lesnar at Mania.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I'd probably lean that way more if bringing back the Authority didn't strike me as sort of picking up where they left off when Bryan got injured. So Daniel Bryan didn't exactly put the Authority away. And I don't know, given that the original plan for him at last year's WrestleMania was to fight Sheamus, I don't know if the WWE considered having Daniel Bryan being the ultimate victor over the Authority. But I don't know, things seem to be falling into place that way.
Right. Yeah, I definitely want to see Daniel Bryan win. There's a lot of, it's the internet. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of talk out there about, leaked information on who might win. Some names being thrown out right now are Randy Orton. What's your thoughts about maybe Orton being a surprise entrant and winning?
Gross. It could happen. Something that also popped in my head was Sheamus.
Right. Sheamus is another name.
I mean, I just saw a picture of him being interviewed for WWE.com. He's got a little bit of that beard growing out.
Yep.
Maybe he's going to team with Eric Rowan.
Hey, there you
go. They can be like the Ginger Snaps or something.
I do like that. I was thinking Big Red, but whatever. I
mean, Big Red and Bigger Red.
Yeah.
Comes from the land of North, Big Red. If anybody remembers that SNL commercial.
No. DDP. What about DDP? That's a name of a potential surprise return.
That could be fun for, the old school fans.
Yeah, definitely not winning, but I think it would be a nice return too. Bully, Ray, or in this case, Bubba Ray and Devon, them making their return.
If they did, it'd be for one night.
Really?
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Interesting.
I mean, if anything, they should have done it. If they should do something during the New Age Outlaws Ascension match. Oh, I guess that would only be if they were going to stick around for a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I could see them, get in the ring, beat on some guys a little bit. We get a what's up. We get the 3D, and then they get eliminated. There's nothing else to it. It'd just be another, like we said, another one for the fans, the old fans.
Yeah, and I think another one that falls into that line is RVD.
Whatever.
RVD, I can definitely see happening.
He does it so often, though.
Yeah, this is his match. This is his match to return to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like Sheamus coming back from injury, there's also talk that Bo Dallas might be ready to return, and this could be his return match.
If we're going to see a return from Bo Dallas, I think it's going to be on Raw.
I want his elimination to take less time than Santino's.
Oh man!
Like they don't even let him in the ring; they just block him out, and he just walks off.
Yeah, like he could slide in and go for the Bo leave and then be thrown out.
Well, that could be. It could be like Savage. The year was it 90 or 91 Royal Rumble, where Ultimate Warrior lost the WWE champion or the WWF championship to Sergeant Slaughter with the help of Macho Man. Macho Man was supposed to come out, and you saw his leg, but then you see him got grabbed and pulled back behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Could see something like that, but really for Bo Dallas of all people,
yeah, I don't know. Rey Mysterio, that's another name.
Only if we get ADR.
Actually, I've seen. I don't know if I want to call them reports. Rumors would probably be more accurate, but I'm hearing a lot of talk that everything's been fixed up between Mysterio and the WWE. I could see
so they
them
threw money at it.
Yeah,
essentially. Yeah,
it's really.
Well,
really,
they fired
what
the
else
social media guy.
yeah.
They fired the quote unquote one racist in the company. Yeah. So Rey Mysterio's
I thought
another
Triple
name.
H was there.
But he hugs little children when he scares them at ringside.
All right. What about Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, or Eric Rowan? Do they return for the Royal Rumble match, or the Raw afterwards?
All three guys are in the Rumble.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think that
You
is
need
accurate.
filler.
Yeah, I mean, overall, this entire list, I would be fine with all of these guys. Bully, Bubba and Devon, I would only be fine with if they're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, I think they would only be fine with it if they were going to be there a while. Because I don't see Devon maybe, but Bully / Bubba, I'm just going to call him Bully since
It's so hard.
Yeah, until he officially comes back to reclaim that name.
Yeah.
It's Bully.
Yeah, I just don't see his ego being able to stand for just a one night kind of deal. I think he would want to make a lasting impact if he was ever going to go back.
For sure.
Is that when we get something like an RVD or not an RVD, an APA brief entrance into the Rumble just to knock those two out?
Oh God. No. All right. So fantasy booking. This is like way out there, but this is WrestleMania season. It's time to talk about potential WrestleMania matches, which means, well, let me just throw it out there. You guys give a yes or no whether or not you'd be okay with this. But here's fantasy booking. I can't remember where I read this suggestion, but I'm almost really into it. Almost.
Spit it out, man.
All right, here we go. So as we know, the winner of the Royal Rumble gets a title shot. They get the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship title shot at WrestleMania. So how about this? Is there any chance The Undertaker is a surprise entrance, wins the Rumble, challenges and beats Lesnar, and retires as champion?
No way.
No.
Only if he's facing Bret Hart. and the Iron Sheik.
But if this happened, would you guys be okay with Undertaker retiring as champion? Like this is his final match?
No. I'm
not after seeing him last year.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't mean to be a dick because I respect the guy greatly.
Yeah,
he's done so much for the business, so much for the company. But now the streak has been broken. I don't want to see him at WrestleMania again.
Well,
especially after that last showing.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you can say Brock was sloppy and caused a concussion or whatever, but man, we've seen pictures of him recently.
Yeah. Well, we've seen pictures of him recently before every WrestleMania, and we scoff at it because of how awful he looks. But he still does okay. This last match,
talk about how he's still fucked up from that match.
Yeah.
And we don't need. Seriously, the guy has done so much. Enjoy your retirement, man. Seriously.
No, I agree. But why I'm almost totally into this is because you've got the rumors that Brock Lesnar is gone after WrestleMania. So Lesnar's gone. We never really got official word that Undertaker is retired, and I don't like the scenario where it's like, because there's been such a mystique about The Undertaker and that character. Like, that's the only real wrestling character we have had for the last 10, 20 years. As far as, put reality to the side kind of thing. He's the only guy that has really carried that throughout the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So, because of that,
you can't count the 80s.
Well, whatever. So
he debuted in 90 or 91.
Okay. So regardless, still, the fact is, like, I don't want him to just be another wrestler and just announce his retirement. I would rather it end in a wrestling moment. His final match, his retirement match, like an actual retirement match, I think would be better for what he has done for the company. And the fact that, he seeks out and takes vengeance or, gets his revenge on Brock Lesnar by not only taking the title, but beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think it would be a really cool finish to the end of his career.
So, I think WWE's burning through Lesnar appearances because he's not going to be back after the Rumble, but.
Now, you mentioned that Lesnar's done after Mania. I don't want Undertaker in a match. I want the show to end with Undertaker dragging Lesnar to hell. So they both leave in a dramatic fashion.
Sure.
We get that final moment with Taker.
I agree. I would like that, like a Buried Alive type match.
Or not have him involved.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Lesnar to make him a paraplegic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
because
after
if it's Lesnar, but if it's Lesnar's last match at Mania, Lesnar's not going to give a fuck. Remember Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania?
I don't know. It's different times.
That was such a vile match. I mean, neither guy gave a crap. They phoned the entire thing in. Taker doesn't deserve that. If anything, whoever beats him beats Lesnar. And then Taker may reach up and grab him like from underneath the ring and pull him down in like he's pulling him to hell. And
that's what I'm talking about. I don't want Taker in a match.
No, okay. As long as he's not in a match.
I don't know. I'm with you guys. Like, as far as the comparison, this would be very similar to Goldberg and Lesnar leaving the same night. But I think people would treat it with a little bit more respect because it's Undertaker. That's all.
Oh God, Judas's idea in the chat: Taker and Sting versus Triple H and Kane.
Nope.
No.
Oh God.
Nope.
No.
All right. Predictions for the WWE Championship match: Lesnar, Rollins, or Cena. Who walks out with the title?
This one's rough. You guys.
I actually think it's going to be Rollins, and that my reasoning for that is in tandem with my prediction for the Rumble match. I think Daniel Bryan versus Rollins would be an excellent way to main event Mania, and I just don't know if you could get that with any combination of a Rumble winner and Lesnar. And I really don't see Cena walking out with the title.
Well, Lesnar and Daniel Bryan would be an excellent match.
It would be, but would it? I don't know. Because they've told the David versus Goliath story before. Yeah. And I would think that this will be a moment where Daniel Bryan does put away the Authority.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go with Lesnar. I think Lesnar wins. I think regardless of what Lesnar is going to do next, if he is going to sign with UFC, even though I think the rumors were his contract's up in March. I think that was according to Dana White in a recent interview. So if Lesnar is leaving for UFC, he's not going to need to start in UFC until at least April. So I'm with the belief that they can pay Lesnar a bunch of money to stay for one more match at WrestleMania, get his WrestleMania payday. So yeah, and I think you can tell a lot better stories with Lesnar as champion. But I am intrigued with the idea that Rollins could win as well. Either way, I think the main event at WrestleMania is going to be good, whether or not it's Lesnar or Rollins.
So we're just going to
go ahead, Joe.
I would say we're going to totally discount the idea of Cena winning.
I don't even want to, I don't.
Let's not jinx it.
I don't want to think about that.
All right. Oh, by the way, I'm going with Lesnar.
Okay.
Just a side tangent. If Rollins does win the title, do you think that could mean that Rollins would have no reason to cash in, and therefore, would that be the first time that the briefcase has never been cashed in?
Well, he's still got a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple months left. But
he's got till what? June or July?
When is it?
I don't know, man. We always argue about this and whether or not it's WrestleMania.
It's not. It used to be.
No. It's
WrestleMania when the case was at WrestleMania, but it's a year from the date they earn it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just can't remember what month Money in the Bank is. Is it June?
I went to Money in the Bank, and I think that was July.
Money in the Bank 2014 took place on June 29th, 2014.
That was almost
okay.
July. So yeah. I think for me, if Rollins wins the title, I think he has to use the briefcase.
Hmm.
If and I'm saying at Royal Rumble. So if Rollins wins, I think a good scenario would be World Heavyweight Championship match, and then you have the Royal Rumble, and then you have whoever wins. So if Lesnar wins the title or retains the title, then Lesnar comes down to go face to face with whoever wins the Royal Rumble, so they can do the WrestleMania sign finger point thing that they always do, and then Rollins comes down and cashes in.
I could see that.
So potentially maybe setting up a 3-way for WrestleMania.
Giggity.
Yeah. And you know what? That would actually be kind of cool if we had a 3-way, because there was always that talk that maybe the Shield main events WrestleMania, all 3 members.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm fine with a multi-person main event at WrestleMania as long as we don't do that. We have a McMahon backing each guy thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh God.
Because then Shane gets stuck with a Big Show. And you got to get Linda on the mic again. Oh.
All right.
Or would Triple H and Stephanie be bringing their kids involved, getting their kids involved?
No. Okay. So, anyways, Royal Rumble, it's this Sunday. I think for the most part, I think we're all looking forward to it. There is that small doubt that WWE will do the right thing and make the right guy the winner of the Royal Rumble, but I think there's a lot of cool opportunities here. So, and it's hard to not get into the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, overall, I think we're all looking forward to it. FTW Podcast.